So that gives you 5 minutes to answer questions. Okay. Yes, sir.
You hit on this illegal immigration. I wish you politicians would say more about what it costs the taxpayer to take care of these bums, whether they're in prison or welfare, food stamps, or what.
Yeah, well, exactly. I don't know, I think it's, speaking of that, if they're in prison, I think the number is, Jim, is like, what, $33,000 a year to house an individual that's locked up? I think it's around that figure, 33,000 or so. Now, on the campaign trail, in Clay, last year, we was at a town hall meeting. Some of you know Jody Lorman. We were there, and there was some discussion. I don't know who the speaker was, but it dealt with illegal immigration. And Andy Lorman, who's with the state police, basically told us that night that they don't have any laws. If they take in 6 illegal immigrants, they basically have to let them go. Isn't that what it was? I think, Chrissy, which again, the feds, we don't have a law to deal with that and so forth, and it's very frustrating. But you're talking about thousands of dollars, that we're paying for, if they're locked up or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
But a few years ago, when them idiots hit them towers, in New York, I was working over at Ellisville, and we went to that station there and watched it on TV, and there was 3 Ellisville cops in there, and one of them was in uniform, the other 2 were, out of uniform. And he told me that he stopped a van load of illegals there in Ellisville, and they was illegal, and he called up there in Indianapolis or somewhere, immigration somewhere, and he told me that they told him that if they hadn't killed anybody, let them go.
Well, that's kind of like what Andy Lorman was telling us last year. There's can't do anything about it, and that's the problem. You got the feds there that says, hey, they want their hands away from it. This border issue thing. I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's good. What Jan Brewer's doing, but you got them morons there, and Obama and his bunch suing the people of Arizona because they want to protect themselves.
Yeah, exactly right. And we talk about that, the sovereignty, and kind of just, I'm not saying we can't get away from, being under the United States of America, but, again, going back to they're not doing anything about it, and it's just, it's very, very frustrating. It's, again, you talk about the United States, you talk about the state of Indiana, we can only do so much, but it's about out here, listening to you folks and finding out what your needs are and so forth, and talk to Donald afterwards here, but he's got some issues and needs, and like we all do, but yeah, Floyd.
What everybody should do, what all you politicians should do, is go to Mexico and see how they treat you. Like if you're speeding or something, get in the hair of the police down there and see how you get treated down there. And then that should be your guide to how you treat, how we treat them.
Well,
reciprocity.
Yeah. Floyd, you're supposed to say public servant, not politician. You didn't listen a while ago. I'm with, yeah.
Fellas that get elected.
Well, down there, it's just like I think, what do they do? Throw you in jail for 30 days and then they might ask you a question? Yeah, that's the way their law is.
Turn around and do that here.
Yeah.
That'd be a start.
Yeah, exactly. Dale?
Is there anything in the works to really identify the legal position of the state as concerning the 10th Amendment of the Federal Constitution, and just to see exactly on what ground the state stands on for resisting the federal encroachment upon the state? So that there are guidelines where if they, such as you are dealing with legislation, that you can assess that particular legislation that is dealing with something that the federal government is doing, and to see whether or not the 10th Amendment applies to that particular legislation.
Sounds like Dale's asking you to write a bill.
Might be.
Well,
A resolution.
you know, it's just like, you know, Obamacare, okay?
That's just one of many.
Yeah, okay. This was Senate Enrolled Act 461 is a federal health care matters by State Representative Tim Brown out of Crawfordsville. And, well, it's, you know, we had a vote on it, 61 to 35, it passes, roll call number 728, but there's a lot of information on there, just what you were talking about. You know, we're trying to deal with, you know, the feds, and the one thing that we touched on up there was Obamacare. You know, how can they tell us that I have to buy health insurance?
Because you took the money. Because the state took the money. That's how they can tell us that we have to do it. The state took the money, Bob, Jim. They're going to tell us we have to do it because we took the money. That's what we need you to do. We need you to tell them no and shove it back in their face.
Yeah, well, that's the intent what we're trying to do here, to make a stand on that.
I know
You know, what it boils down to. You know, it's just like this, you know, the big issue right now with defunding Planned Parenthood. You know, they're talking about the, is it the $4 billion that the feds want, dealing with Medicaid and so forth and that type of thing. You know, I think, was it the 20th on Monday, they're going to have some ruling on that, I think, or so forth. But, you know, I don't know what's going to happen on that, or I don't know all the details of that.
Well,
but
we've
it's,
got your back here, so you
Yeah.
fight and we'll be behind you.
okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So, yeah.
What are the chances that Indiana might follow suit with Florida and pass legislation requiring welfare recipients to have drug testing?
Well, we dealt with that, or I don't know, Rebecca, Representative Kabaki, and I think even Matt Ubelor dealt with that, or we're going to. I don't know if it got, you know, with what happened to it. But it wasn't on the books, but we were going to talk about it, and I don't know if that was right before the Democrats bolted, but that's something we dealt with. Well, I don't know if we dealt with it totally, but we know about it and so forth. And you know, and that's the thing too. I've had people say, you know, about food stamps and so forth. You know, if they're going to get assistance for me, and this is just a normal Joe from Vigo County, you know, let's make them take a blood test. Let's make them take a urine test or whatever. And if it's negative, fine. But if it's positive, you wait another month. You clean your act up, and you know, if you want my money or the government's money, your money, then that's how they're going to have to do it. But that's something where I don't know where we were at with that, but we talked about it. We're trying to deal with it. So, good point.
Don't run off yet. Bob, Jim, and Jim, y'all stay around for a while so people can talk to you? Sound good? Okay, so that you can